Hi, I'm Mark Toth, Curator of History at Gilcrease Museum. I've been thinking a lot lately about an object in our collection which reminded me of a poem I first heard more than 50 years ago and still remember a few of the lines these many years later. They are, "Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year." I suspect that many of you recognize these words as the opening lines of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem, Paul Revere's Ride. I have to wonder, without Longfellow's poem memorializing Paul Revere's ride on that April night 245 years ago, how many of us would know much, if anything, of Revere and his role in American history? And without that collective memory of Revere that we share as a nation, I also wonder if Thomas Gilcrease would have acquired for the museum the very special document that reminded me of Longfellow's poem in the first place. That document is Paul Revere's certification, or pass, dated April 29th, 1775. This pass allowed Revere to move about the Cambridge and Boston area and warn the Minutemen of British troop movements. You can see this very special American document at our collections online site. So thinking about this very special object, I would like to share with you today and my next post some of what I've learned about Paul Revere the man and the significance of our April 29, 1775 Revere certification. But let's begin with Reveres Backstory, or in superhero phraseology, his origin story. Paul Revere's father, Apollos Reveres, was a French Huguenot who immigrated to Boston, Massachusetts colony at age 13, where he apprenticed as a silversmith. Reveres later anglicized his name to Paul Revere before marrying Deborah Hitchborn, a local Boston girl whose family had been in America for several generations. The Paul Revere of Midnight Ride fame was born around 1734. He was the first son of 11 or 12 children born to Apollos and Deborah Revere. As a young person, Revere's father taught young Paul the craft of silversmithing. As a result, Paul Revere would become one of early America's greatest silver artists. In fact, without his midnight ride, if we remembered Revere for anything, it would be his skill as a silversmith. Revere never learned to read or speak French, the language of his father. In fact, like many colonists of the day, he volunteered in 1756 to serve as a soldier under British command against the French in the French and Indian War. While Revere left no written record of why he volunteered, it's likely he did so for the steady paycheck his service offered, and like many men in Massachusetts at the time, he probably felt compelled to protect the area from the constant threat of attack from the French and their Native American allies. After his service in the French and Indian War, Revere not only made silver articles, but also crafted surgical instruments, spectacles, dentures, and made woodcuts and engraved copper plates. His most famous engraving portrayed the Boston Massacre of 1770. Well, that's enough for now. Join me next time when we'll discuss Revere's role in the American Revolution and the significance of this April 29, 1775 certification. Until then, take care and be well.